Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. My wife and I, along with others, investigate everything paranormal in nature. Every week, we will discuss everything from creepy haunted locations to ghosts to Bigfoot, UFOs, Dogman, and other cryptid creatures, and explore all things paranormal in nature. Hey guys, welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I'm the host of the Deep Woods podcast, and I'm also the founder and lead investigator of Deep Woods Paranormal. So today I'm going to share my screen with you guys. I want to show you what we do when we do investigations and stuff like that, because a lot of people ask me, well, how do you investigate locations? Also want to take a look at the Brazos Valley here in Texas, because I've just gotten two more Bigfoot sightings recently. And it's very interesting because they're in an area by where I work. And it's not very far from my house. We're going to take a look at this area and see what makes this area possibly a good Bigfoot location. I know everybody's been waiting to hear about Bigfoots. If you haven't tuned in, we've had some special guests on. One of you guys, actually, two of you guys, and we're going to have more of you on to tell your stories. Um, so I don't want to drift off into La La Land here, but yeah, if you guys want to be on the show and you want to tell your story, you've got some kind of paranormal stories, I would say stories to share. I will start to do a podcast kind of dedicated to you guys, I think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically do chapters where different people can come on and share their stories. And there'll be podcast guests. Bear with me, I'm a little under the weather. I've had some weird issues lately with my health. So, um, anyways, I don't know if I have the flu or I've got a cold or what, but it just had just a strange night last night. It might even be a paranormal attack. Who knows? Very weird stuff going on. But as the paranormal activity picks up, I mean, it could be affecting me too. So, all for my Bigfoot fans, let's start there and then we'll go back into other things. Let me just quickly show you something cool here. Um, Let me share that. Where'd it go? Let me try that again. So we are going to share. Oh, it's not showing the camera. Okay. Let me share this. Okay, here we go. So this is a look at the Deep Woods Paranormal office, and I know people are like, "Get to the point, Matt. We want to hear about the Bigfoot stuff." But everybody asked me what the Deep Woods Paranormal office looks like. A couple of our cats in here, Mama Dog is on the floor over there. They like to come in and out while I do the podcast, and you got Chance laying over by the door, protecting us from the ghosts, kind of trying to get into the room or out of the room, I should say. But Mr. Binks is up on his little pedestal up over there next to the I Want to Believe poster. And if you've not seen X-Files, great show. They try to base it off of real events. So, and I don't mean like the things that they show on the videos or on the shows are real, but they do mimic strange cases that this FBI agent actually would go and investigate. So, you can see the paranormal shelf. Towards the top up here, we have items with possible attachments, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes here. Again, more dolls, creepy dolls with attachments. And then we've got past animals up on top of the shelf there are no longer with us. We got Mr. Moo, we have Miss Allie, and then we have Mr. Farley up there. And then we have and they're in powder form, if you will. They've been um, put into a box so we can keep them forever. And maybe when we're buried, we'll have them buried with us. So you got more haunted dolls over here. This one in the blue, her eyes are severely creepy. They follow you everywhere. Yesterday, the Raggedy Andy doll, I swear, it had eyeballs. You can see the eyes are just sewn. They're just black sewn, um, flat things. But this thing had eyeballs that were protruding out of the eye of where the eye socket possibly would be. The black part would be the socket. And it kept looking around the room, and the dogs absolutely out. Flipped out. And this went on for probably 20, 30 minutes. And then I finally walked in here and flipped on the lights, looked around, nothing. So, the camera angle used to be up on top of the shelf up here, where you kind of barely see up here by where I am on the little video clip here, and I moved it down to um, basically show the haunted halls in this area of the office. Also, if you keep your eye on the door out here, where the light switch is, just to the left of the light switch, there's that German guy that will, from time to time, peek around the corner. He's not very tall, but he peeks around, and he also sometimes shows up on the audio of the podcast, and so do other spirits. So if you're listening to this, I'm the only one in the house. If you hear anything other than my voice and it's not a dog or a cat, then it possibly could be something. Sometimes when I'm listening back, I'll hear it and I'll go, okay, and I'll clip it out of there. But I don't tell you guys because I want to see if you guys can hear it. So if you guys hear an audio clip that sounds strange or you see something in the video, and we'll come back to this once I'm basically done talking about Bigfoots, go ahead and put a comment down below. And while you're at it, please do me a favor and like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And, if you want, just check in. Tell us where you're listening from or watching from. Comment down below. On the podcast, unfortunately, sometimes we don't see your comments. We're on, God, 60 plus platforms all around the world, not just here, all around the world. So pretty cool. Anyways, let me stop sharing this screen. Let's get back into what you guys really want to hear about, which is the Bigfoot. Let me share this. All right. So let's share this screen. Okay. So this is my Bigfoot maps, or my Google Maps, excuse me. You can see a lot of these blue pen, no, all these blue pens should be Bigfoot reports. So as I start scanning through and coming closer, we're going to look at Texas. Now, Texas is a huge state. And we're going to zoom in a little bit more. And these are not like, if you're looking at the pins, you're going, well, there's some pins missing. These are the reports that I've gotten, not anybody else. And some of these pins have multiple reports at them. So not just, it doesn't mean they're just at one separate location. That pin might cover a county, and there might be 10, 12, 14, 15 Bigfoot sightings in that county. So I dropped a pin so I have a starting point of where I'm looking to investigate. And that's kind of what you have to do when you're looking for Bigfoots. You got to look through old reports. Bigfoots are creatures of habit. Just because you don't see them, just because you don't hear them, just because you don't believe in them, whatever, um, doesn't mean they're not there. I know we have in this channel, and we have followers that are non-believers, we have followers that are skeptics, and we have followers that are believers, and we have followers that are knowers. If you're lucky enough to have seen one and you're a knower, that's awesome. If you're on the fence, that's awesome. If you're a non-believer, that's awesome. You shouldn't be a believer, even if you know, even if you're a skeptic, even if you're on the fence, even if you think you saw something. You should continue to be a non-believer until you've had an encounter where you can say, okay, that couldn't be anything else. But because when you're describing this to a person, and either they're skeptic, they're on the fence, or maybe they're a knower or believer, they're going to be listening to you and essentially going, okay, all right, okay, okay. But, and they might love your story, but they're in the back of their mind, they're going, okay, I don't know if that's real or not. So you have to have a really good, solid story. You really know you have to make sure that if you have the opportunity to see one, and it might be terrifying, it might be like me, you might be a kid in a candy store. Oh my gosh, they're real. Or you might be one of those people that's like, I don't know if I really saw that or not. It could, you're trying to rationally explain away what you saw. Whatever it is, always try and visually take in as much information as you can and listen. They're showing themselves to you, or they're knocking, or they're doing the screams or the howls, or you're finding structures for a reason. They probably want you to find them. If they didn't want you in that area or want you to see them, hear them, feel them, whatever, you wouldn't. Trust me. They are. People say they're dumb. No, they're not. They're not dumb. If they were dumb, we would be seeing them all the time. They'd be a part of our society, and there'd be a lot more reports of hunters killing them. And there are hunters that have killed Bigfoots. Now, those people, they're just You know, it's hard to keep a Bigfoot once you kill one. And if you kill one, you're gonna feel terrible probably because they look very human-like. They could possibly, and I say possibly, now take all this with a grain of salt. For my non-believers, my skeptics, my people on the fence, and even my knowers and believers, take that with a grain of salt. They could possibly be ape-like, they could be monkey-like, they could be human, they could be a cross between all of them, they could be Gigantopithecus, they could be a crossbreed between humans and Gigantopithecus. The theories are unlimited of what these things could be or could not be. So, anyways, let's get back into this. I just want to prime you guys so that you kind of have a general idea of what we're thinking they are. My belief is they could possibly be some kind of Gigantopithecus. Let me just make sure I have my Bigfoot sightings on. Okay. Oops. I think it just turned them back off. Hold on a second, guys. Just bear with me. Okay, I guess that has to stay on. All right. So you can kind of see in the US and all around, there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings. And again, there's clusters. And what I go do is I look for clusters. Now, granted, if you're in these other states besides Texas, I had a lot more pins in California. I did. I had them in Nevada, I had them in Oregon, I had them in, and then when I switched to an Android and then switched back to an iPhone, it wiped my map. It basically wiped out all of my pins. I don't know why. It just wiped them for some reason. Again, I draw attention of entities that don't like me to have information that I have. I've been doing this now for almost 15 years, Bigfoot research, and I've been doing it for, God, probably about 34, 35 years as a paranormal researcher, into ghosts and other things. And then UFOs, I've kind of been into UFOs and stuff, researching, actually going out and researching them for about 8 or 9 years. So just understand I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be. I've been doing this a long time. I know a lot about these things. I've had a lot of encounters. I've just done this for a long time. So, all right. So let's look into where we're at. We're over here in Brazos Valley, which is right around here. So we're gonna come up to Robertson. Let's see. Bear with me. It's having a hard time finding where we are for some reason. There's Bremond, Hearn, so we're a little high. That's why. Okay. So the area I want to kind of talk about is out in West Bryan area. So we live in West Bryan. We live on the edge of town. We live next to the 2018. And for those of you that live in town, you know what I'm talking about. But if you look out here in Cameron, Milano, Rockdale, Caldwell, and Hearn, and all the way in through Bryan, and this whole area, it's all very, very forested, still very, very green. This side of Texas is just amazing. So when you start going through these areas, you can see I've dropped some pins, and these pins are all along the Brazos River. And if you come over here, here's another pin that I dropped. Here's another pin that I dropped. And it's very strange that there's all these pins all along the Brazos River. If you follow this down, here's two, here's two, here's two, coming down the Brazos River. And then it kind of stops going towards Houston. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten a lot of reports out there, but there's quite a few reported sightings along the Brazos River. Now, I live over next to what is it called? Bryan Lake. And let's see if we can get in here to Bryan Lake. Let's see. Mumford, I'm too high. All right. Sorry, guys. I've got that light shining right in my eyes, and it makes it really hard to see my screen with the light on. Because people were telling me that I kept having a shadow on my face and they couldn't see me. So I had to get some kind of lighting. I need to get a different light for over here, but all right. Okay, so let's go back and find our area again. So here's Brian over here. Okay, so here's Lake Brian. Okay, so there's camping over here and stuff like that. And if you notice, okay, so I'm trying to set up a general area. So if you look at Lake Bryant, as you come down this road towards Lake Bryant, it's not super forested, but there is a lot of forest. This map does not do this justice. So as you can see, there's forest area around, um, in and around the lake here. There's forested area a little bit inside of where the lake is, and this is a man-made lake. Okay, this is basically this lake was put here to cool the turbines of a power station. So essentially, it's a steam power plant and stuff like that. So this area coming across here, this is mainly all fracking operations and farms. This is very, very wide open. This section here is very wide open. And for some reason, there's a lot of reports of um, people seeing them out here. They updated this a lot. This is not showing my it's not showing my pens. This is interesting. Why is this not showing my pens? Let me come up for a second. Okay, well, we're gonna have to talk about this from far up. All right, so you got the Bryan Lake area. You've got this open area here, where basically it's mainly farms and fracking operations. They're secluded. There's not much out there. In this area here, along the 180 down to the 190 and back across over here, I believe this is the also the 190, but it's Highway 50 essentially. It comes across here into Bryan. Um, this area here, this big chunk of land right here is very, very forested. There are homes out here, but there's a lot of different farms and different things like that. So the sightings are happening along the edge of the forests. I had a friend that moved out here, and I was working with him, and unfortunately, he had to move because things didn't work out the way he thought they were going to work out, and he just wasn't able to get things going. But this whole section of land, I'm surprised I don't have all kinds of pens over here. I really am. But you get all these Bigfoot sightings out here, all along this Brazos River. I think that they're using it as a highway. I really do. I think they're using the Brazos River. Let me see if I can find you the Brazos River. Here's the Brazos River. It's basically really sandy. It's really hard to walk down to these places. You could literally walk along this. Well, I mean, not maybe walk. They could. The Bigfoots probably could. But if you were cruising up this thing like on a boat, you could go for miles and miles and miles without people even seeing you. And if you follow this up, it goes all the way up to like Fort Worth, I believe. So it comes up here, all the way up here. I'm just going to follow it up into Waco, and it goes through Waco. And then I think it just continues up here like this if you're following my mouse, all the way up here somewhere. But, anyways, I believe it goes all the way up towards Fort Worth. And there's sightings of these things all along this area. So I just got a sighting over by where I work, believe it or not. Let's see, let's go back and find the lake here. Okay. So here's Lake Bryan. Okay. There's been dogman sightings in and around this forested area here. Somebody saw a dogman as they were hiking. There's hiking trails in here. And this looks tiny. I know it looks tiny, but it's much bigger than it looks. And essentially, you could go all the way around here and escape out here without very many people seeing you. I mean, I could basically go through there with if I put a Bigfoot costume on. I don't know how many people at night. If I wanted to cruise through here at night, which would be probably suicidal because somebody would probably shoot you. But if you cruise through here and follow this green belt all the way around, and you cruise around, this is miles and miles of area to cover. But you could literally come across here. You could get back out here into this farmland, and nobody would ever see you. Bless you. Bless you. And you could disappear. But again, if you come back out here towards this way, here's Irvine. I'm sorry, Bryan Lake. Excuse me. Here's the Brazos River. I think they use this as a highway. I really do. I think they're coming in here and they're basically just hiding out in this area. Unfortunately, this is all private land and it's owned probably by the oil companies and stuff like that. If you work for the oil companies out here, or you're one of the guys that comes out here, or girls that comes out here and picks up oil or gas at night, and you've had an experience in the Brazos Valley, please contact me. Or if you know somebody who does that, just in the Brazos Valley or anywhere else, actually, that's fine. But just let me know, are you experiencing Bigfoot activity? Now, I work out here on the 50, real close to the 50, and I'm always watching this little pond out here. Where is it? There's a pond out here somewhere. There it is. So I'm watching this pond, right? And for work, we park over here, but we can see when there's not trains going back and forth across here. We can see this area. I've got to remember to bring not just a thermal, but my night vision binoculars and monocular to watch over here. I swear I saw some crazy green eyes the other night, looking back across here. Now I've got to do some research and I've got to go across there and see what's over there. One of these days, I'm allowed to drive over here sometimes, but one of these days, I'm going to go over here during the day. If there's not really a road over here, but if I can get over on this side, I've been on this side of the lake, but it's so covered with trees and stuff. It's severely hard to see. Um, but I think there's something hiding along here, and it could be a Bigfoot. It could be a dog man. I've seen it a couple times. I've seen the eyes blink, and they're huge. They're like really really big. I mean, if this was a human, it would look like the end of a pencil tip, but these eyeballs look like they're the size of baseballs. And so if I can get a night vision binocular or a binocular out here with that records, and I can get it on camera, I will. And I'll take that little thermal camera out there one of these days and see if I see it. But I'm constantly watching this pond to see if I can see anything. Now there's trains that run back and forth in here. There aren't any deer that I've ever seen here, but the deer stay out on the 50. The deer are out here. Let's see, is this the 79 coming through? Of course. Highway one. Yeah, this is 79 here. All right, so you got the 50 that comes through into the yard. Where is it? Here's Highway 50 coming in right here. So it comes in and turns and does all these crazy things. That's Highway 30. Bear with me, guys. I gotta find Highway 50. So this is Mumford. Comes out this way. Okay, here's Highway 50. So here's Highway 50. Comes back out and goes back onto the 79. There's a bunch of deer over here. There's deer. There's a couple of big ponds. There's deer. There's otter over here. I've seen otters. My boss was telling me he had seen otters. I don't know who owns this land. One of these days, I'm gonna go over there and see if I can communicate with them and see if they've seen anything over here. But there are deer. There are deer that hang out here. They hang out along the 79, and then also, um, if you go into Hearn, further into Hearn, you've got the old depot here, and this whole section of land, there's deer that literally hang out in the old on this side. They for some reason they hang out over here. They like to come along this strip of road here along the depot, and they like to eat. Now, I imagine I've seen them cross across here underneath the bridge. There's actually a bridge here, and they come along this green belt here. And I imagine there's tracks here, but I imagine they would go into this area here and maybe hunker down or whatever, but they come out to eat the grass. And if you follow that strip down, look how big this is. Look how big this is. And that leads you into the Brazos depot down here. But anyways, I mean, look at all the ponds. There's these huge, massive ponds with lots of wildlife. So this gives the deer a chance to come in here. And I would imagine if I was a Bigfoot, I'd be following. And then also all these big squares, it's all farmland. There's nothing out here. There's very few people out here. All these little gray pads you see, they're pretty much fracking operations. They're putting another one in somewhere over here in this other farmer's field. But look what's like right to the left, Brazos River. So I'm thinking if Bigfoots are coming down, I mean, let's take a look at this area here because we're looking to see what makes a good area for a Bigfoot. Look at this big sandy area. And then you've got cover up here. You've got fish in here. You've got alligator gar. God, we're over at the where the Little Brazos is, right next to the 79 going into Hearn, and there's a massive alligator gar there. I mean, it's probably 4 feet long, 5 feet long. The head on that thing had to be almost 6, 7 inches long, and it was just bone. And I had just dropped a crew off the night before, and when I pulled up the next night with them, it was there, and it was nothing. There was nothing on it. It was just all bone, like something had picked it clean, completely clean. Didn't look like it had been gutted or anything. So I don't know. I don't know what that was, but it's interesting. So you got fish source. I mean, a big, good sized alligator gar could feed a Bigfoot for a night, for a meal, if you will. Anyways, this one's down here all the way through where I work and then down in, of course, into down towards Houston. And if you look down here, I've got more drop pins and they're along the Brazos River. And then basically these are just Bigfoot sightings. People have seen Bigfoots down here. They've seen Bigfoots over here. What's this? So this must be a home or business. Yeah, these are homes. So these are homes right here. And of course, you got the train tracks, and then looks like fracking operations. So you got fracking operations. That might be an airport, actually. That looks like an airport. That looks like a runway and maybe a hangar, an old hangar, or it could just be a fracking operation. And this might be also an old runway. Again, out in the middle of farmers' fields. They do their own crop dusting, so it could be like a privately owned farm and airport. But people are seeing them out here. Unfortunately, they're just not reporting it. So this is interesting. There's a cluster of sightings in this area again along the Brazos River. And I mean, you could literally walk up these things without anybody seeing you. I mean, if I hopped in a raft and I put enough provisions in there to get, maybe go for 2 or 3 days, and this is a plan of mine. I am going to do this. We're going to film this for Exploring the Unknown with Matt and Amanda. Um, I need to get an engine, I think, a little outboard motor, but I want to take this down, float down this river and see where the hell we go. Maybe just by myself and let Amanda come pick me up in a day or two and pull off to some of these places and let the camera run nonstop and just see what it picks up on. If it picks up on anything, maybe we hear something, maybe we see something, maybe a Bigfoot comes running out of the woods and scares, tries to jump on our boat. Who knows? But anyways, I think the Brazos River could be another highway for them. I really do. I think if you look at where these sightings are appearing, of course, this is up in Calvert. But if you look at even Calvert, the reports were actually down here in the farmer's field. And what's there? You got a river there. You got this little river that also is right next to the Brazos River. So I really think that they're using the river as cover, as a highway. When I used to go out to Black Star Canyon, you had the Santa Ana River that ran dry, and they were definitely using it. You couldn't find prints because it was bone dry. It was a lot of rock and a lot of gravel and stuff out there, so it wasn't like sandy soil in most of the places. But you could easily walk. I could walk down there and not leave trace of being there. And you would probably, unless you were a really good tracker, you would never be able to tell I was ever there. Anyways, let me stop sharing this screen and I will share one more screen with you guys. Let me share this. Okay, so let me see if I can get out of here. All right, so as this pops up, it'll just give it a second here, guys. I want to show you what we're working on currently. And you'll see a series of cameras on your screen. Camera one, camera two here, camera three, camera four, camera five. These are security cameras at a antique store that we're investigating. This is an antique store that's been around for over 200. Well, not the antique store, but the building's been around for over 200 years. It burnt down one point and they rebuilt it. So let me go through and I'll just show you the different angles. Takes just a second for this to load. Loaded the same camera. And that's a really cool store. This will be on our show, Exploring the Unknown with Matt and Amanda. We're currently filming here and trying to investigate and pick up some evidence for you guys. There's been some cool things that happened, like doors have opened on their own while we were there. Unfortunately, we didn't get a camera because we were on the other side of the door and we didn't see what happened. So let's see, camera three. But this is just home security cameras that we put out. It's like a DVR system. If you ever seen the show Ghost Hunters or whatever, you've seen them put out the security cameras, which is cool because these are Wi-Fi cameras and they're um, basically all you do is plug them in, leave them, and they will pick up on motion. These are actually live, so you can see inside the store. I don't think she minds. Hopefully she doesn't walk just back and go, "Hey, you weren't supposed to show that," but anyways, you can just see how we have a lot of different angles of the store. There's an upstairs here, and there's a set of stairs that come down behind this wall here. I saw something go from here and come across and then disappear into the booth behind here. And then there was motion along here, and like something was walking around. So there are reports of little kids, and this thing was not very tall. So I'm wondering if it possibly was some kind of little kid. And then upstairs, they've got this cool place. I think they hold events and stuff up here, but there's an old piano. This thing's probably haunted. We're going to be working with attachments, as I was talking about earlier. The antique store, essentially, let me go back to the office. The antique store is full of items that could possibly have attachments. As we've talked about before, let me make this a full screen so you guys can see the office. Um, this top shelf, you can see the old razor, shaving razor up here. Excuse me. There's an old dragon that we got from an estate sale that possibly has essentially the owner still attached. And then what else is over here? It's hard to see. There's a lot of different things on these top two shelves here. What else to be? Not the knife. What else is up there that has attachments? Oh, the spectacles. You can barely see them. This has a woman, a tall, skinny woman, that used to like to go to the theater, and she's possibly attached to these and stuff like that. She showed up in a dream of Amanda's, and she was actually using them, and she was asking Amanda, why we were holding on to her spectacles or something. I don't remember what she said. You'll have to hear that story from her. But then again, besides the Howdy Doody doll over on the left, well, it'll be on your right side. It's left for me. But you have all these all these dolls that possibly have some kind of entities attached to them. And there's a couple that are kind of malevolent. This little girl here, she's a little malevolent. So is this one over here. I mean, by malevolent, I don't mean evil or she's, gonna try and murder us or sleep or anything. She's just, she's more sinister. She's got a more, how do you say this? She's got a more of a, she's more like a prankster, I would say. She's gonna say things how she feels they are. She's, she doesn't have a filter. Let's put it that way. The other dolls up there are pretty nice. This little young lady has definitely has an attachment. My friend David gave me that, and I'm pretty sure she has a little girl attached that unfortunately I don't know if she was murdered or she committed suicide, but she was pretty young when it happened. And one of these days we have to open up a line of communication with her. She showed herself to me and again broke the rules. I always tell you guys about the rules. But whenever you leave a haunted location, you always want to say, "Mama, be nice." If you ever are at a haunted location, you feel like something you might be in a haunted location, even if it's not. You spend the night somewhere or whatever. You get out in a creepy location. You get back in your vehicle. Anytime you're traveling away from home, you want to say, "If there's anything with me, you can't come home with me." And wait till you get in your vehicle, get it started, because we've had vehicles not start before, and start your way home. Hit that first stop sign, first stop light, first corner, whatever. That's where you say it. And don't be mean, don't be angry, don't be anything. Just be stern. If there's anything with me, you can't come home with me. And then when you get to that first, that's halfway home, same thing. And then when you get home, just say the same thing, but just say, if you're still with me and you're attached to something, you're not allowed to come into my house. Or if you come into my house, you need to be quiet. Like I tell these dolls, they're fine if they want to hang out here, and sometimes they do. What the heck was that? Look over here towards the door. There was just a head right here. In fact, it looks like there's still one over there. Somebody's peering around that corner. Anyways, if you say if there's anybody with me, I mean, if there's anything attached to these items, and I'll just tell you what I said, and you can choose your own poison. If you're okay with a haunted item being in your house, you need to set ground rules. If there's Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. If there's anything attached to this item, you have to mind my rules if you're coming into my house. You can't be hurting anyone. You can't scare the animals or hurt the animals in any way. You can't hurt us. You can't break things. You have to be an ideal guest, and you have to stay quiet unless we're having a conversation. I open up lines of communication with entities that are attached to the dolls and other things so that they can have a voice. And I try to make sure that they're happy and that they're comfortable being here. Because imagine if you were trapped somewhere and you couldn't get out and you were just hating life. You wouldn't want to be there. So I want to make sure that the entities that are attached to these dolls, they're mainly kids, but then these entities that are here are happy and they like being here and their lives are good still, or their deaths are good, I should say. And they don't need to be crossed over as we do cross over things. So, anyways, guys, this podcast is getting a little long. I apologize for rambling on too much, but I had a lot to kind of share with you guys. Maybe next week we'll talk about the lights in the sky that Amanda and I have been seeing. I'm very curious to see if anybody else in this area has seen things. And then we're going to have some more guests back on telling their stories, UFOs, and talking about poltergeist activity. I know I keep saying this and stuff like that. So, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, sorry for being sporadic and being kind of all over the place, but this is kind of how podcasts go. And so just understand that. If you'll do me a favor, down in the comment, tell me where you're listening from. Are you listening from the United States? Are you listening from Texas? Are you listening from New York? Don't give your total location. Just say I'm listening from Ireland. I'm listening from Poland. I'm listening from Russia. I'm listening from Scotland. I know we have viewers and listeners from all over the world. I'm listening from South America because I'd love to see where everybody's from. Just comment down below. And then if you do me a favor, if you like this podcast, hit the like button and give us a subscribe because we do post like every Friday or Saturday. We try to at least. And then we have other content that comes out that you might be also interested in. So anyways, guys, well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a good one, and we will catch you on the next one.